Hello and welcome to the Valley. Today I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Community Health Day. That is the day every month that we jump on a Zoom and speak with someone at Valley Health. They, of course, sponsor this program every month. We've talked to cardiologists and neurologists. We've talked to primary care physicians, nurses, administrators, all sorts of different people over the years. Today, we're going to get a little history and some information about Healthy Families, which is a program that Valley Health supports. So Jody Young is on the Zoom with us. She is the executive director for Healthy Families, Northern Shenandoah Valley. Tracy Mitchell is joining us as well. She's the manager at Valley Health's Wellness Services and Risk Reduction. So I want to thank both of you for taking the time today. And Jody, I was joking with you before we started. This is technically sort of your first time doing the show.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's been a number of years since I've been on this show, so I do feel like it's first time. Absolutely.
And you have a whole new hat now, so that makes it a little bit different as well.
Absolutely. I started my position as the executive director back in June of 2025. So I still feel like it's a very new hat, although some days it feels like I've been wearing it for a really long time. But yes, it's a brand new hat for me.
So for someone who doesn't know what Healthy Families does, can you give me the overview of the services that you provide?
Families is a home visiting program. We start visiting families at 20 weeks prenatally, and we visit them all the way up to 5 years of age. And so we are a program that helps support new and expectant parents and families with their new baby that's coming. Babies don't come with instruction books. And we work with moms and families, like I said, starting at 20 weeks prenatally. We bring them into our program from 20 weeks up to 3 months of age. And then we follow them for up to 5 years of age. We have intensive home visiting at the beginning, once a week for could be 6 months, could be 8 months, depending on the need of the family. And then as they grow in their support and they strengthen their parenting skills, we drop them down to once every other week. And eventually we get to once a month and then quarterly. But we are able to follow them all the way through those first 5 years where your child is changing so much development is going on. At 3 months, they start falling asleep and sleeping through the night. And before you know it, 6 months later, they're wide awake and they're not sleeping. And you're like, what do I do with them kind of thing. So we work with them and support them through all of those changes all the way up through 5 years of age.
This could be their second or third child as well, right?
It can be, yes. We try to focus on those first time parents, but we have families who have multiple children in our program. So we are looking for families who have some social determinants of health that could add stress to their lives on top of having a new baby. So someone who may be struggling with rent or housing or transportation or keeping food on the table or lack of a job, those type of stressors on top of having a new baby can really add difficulties to a family as they're starting out or as they have a new baby with small children at home. Healthy Families is part of a nationwide program, Healthy Families America, and it ultimately was started as a way to prevent child abuse. There's literature and research that shows that home visiting programs help reduce incidences of child abuse. And the children who are most vulnerable to abuse and neglect are infants up to that 4 or 5 years of age. That's when they're the most vulnerable. So our program focuses again up to that 5 years of age and ultimately trying to provide skills and support for parents so that we don't get to that stressing point to where we potentially could abuse a child.
And you make a good point when you talk. I know you were sort of joking about how babies don't come with manuals. I think all of us parents have
Right.
have gone through that struggle, but it's also the case that every child is different. So
Yes.
how you raise one child might not be the same way that you would do a second or a third child, or you have a 7-year-old or a 4-year-old and now you're bringing a new baby into the mix. It completely throws a wrench into routines and
Yes.
what the needs are. So it does make sense that you're there on a regular basis to be able to help manage and guide parents through that.
Absolutely. And we have found that while we might be working with what we call our target child, the child that we bring into the program, we are able to offer that extra little bit of support to the older child that might be in the home as well. And, oh, my 4-year-old is doing this. Maybe you could try this activity or try this kind of thing. So yeah, it's a nice way to add additional support for their older children as well.
Tracy, as manager of Valley Health's wellness services and risk reduction, how does Valley Health fit into this mix when it comes to healthy families?
Well, just as the name suggests with wellness services, obviously that encompasses the health and well-being of our entire community. And you mentioned the risk reduction. We really know that prevention on that side can just yield exponential returns. So the idea that Valley Health would have this relationship, this partnership, it makes sense. It's very natural. We know that maternal and child outcomes are important. We prioritize the program, and we certainly know from evidence, research, studies that positive parenting is linked to better physical health, it's linked to better emotional health and behavioral outcomes. So the idea that Valley Health would be the host agency for healthy families, that the group would be a department of Winchester Medical Center, just makes total sense.
And we're not even talking about the overall health of the child that may be part of the program. If you have a parent who feels confident in their parenting skills, that impacts their overall health and their mental well being.
Absolutely. As Jody said, it's an evidence-based program really with 4 overarching goals. And one of those is to promote positive, nurturing, responsive parenting and get our kids ready for school.
That's probably a big piece of this as well, Jody, is getting those kids school ready. I've done shows in the past with other nonprofits. Campaign for Grade Level Reading comes to mind, and having these kids be ready when they step in the door that first day of school to learn how to read, to learn how to play, to know all of these things is incredibly beneficial to them, not even on that first day, but when they get to 5th grade and 6th grade into high school.
It absolutely is. And during our visits, we do developmental assessments at different times throughout the stages of the child's life. And so if for some reason they're not meeting those developmental milestones, we can then make referrals and offer resources to families so that that child gets that extra help that they need before they start school. So if they need extra help with their speech, because if they have trouble with speech, that's going to turn into trouble with reading. So if they get that extra help before school even starts, they're that much further ahead by the time they start school.
Let's take a break. When we come back, can we talk a little bit about how someone would get enrolled, get their children or get themselves enrolled in this program? I want to talk a little bit about whether there's a fee or if it's income based. Can we get in the weeds on that in the next segment?
Absolutely.
We're going to do all of that when we come back. Again, it is Community Health Day, sponsored by Valley Health. So we are on the Zooms today with Tracy Mitchell. Tracy is the manager of Valley Health Wellness Services and Risk Reduction. Jody Young is joining us as well. She is the executive director of Healthy Families, Northern Shenandoah Valley. That is what we're talking about today. And we're going to do more of that when we come back in just a couple of minutes.
This Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. He has no idea that's what he's going to do. He only knows that he went to justserve.org and signed up to spend time at a senior center Saturday morning. As he browsed through service opportunities in his own community, he remembered the words of Paul to the Galatians, "By love, serve one another." Little does Henry know that Saturday morning he'll end up speaking to one senior in particular who hasn't seen his family in several weeks and is feeling especially lonely. Henry doesn't know the short time he'll spend with this man will lift his spirits, cheer his heart, and make his life just a little better. Through love and service this Saturday, Henry Mueller will change the world. See the difference you can make. Sign up for service opportunities in your community. Visit justserve.org.
Back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. It is Community Health Day, sponsored by Valley Health. Today we are learning about Healthy Families, Northern Shenandoah Valley. Jody Young is joining us. She is their executive director, along with Tracy Mitchell. Tracy is the manager for Valley Health Wellness Services and Risk Reduction. And Jody, when we went to break, we were talking about the different types of services and input and guidance and education that you can give to new parents. How do you determine who those parents are? Do they sign up? Do they reach out to you? Do you get a referral from somebody? How does that work?
We get referrals a number of different ways. So prenatally, again, we'd like to bring them in on a prenatal basis so we can really start working with them before the baby's even born. So our local OBGYN offices are able to send us referrals, and they share our brochures with the new moms or the pregnant moms and say, hey, this might be a good program for you. So that's one way to bring in referrals. Obviously, self-referrals, families can reach out and say, hey, I heard about your program. I'd like more information. I'd like to be part of it. We work with other local agencies, ABBA Pregnancy Center, New Eve Ministries. Our name is out there in a lot of different programs related to children. And so word of mouth, hey, I heard about this program. It might be a good program for you. We have a community advisory board, and I think there's 8 or 9 folks on there right now. So they're also doing some publicity for us, if you will, by telling their friends and their businesses about Healthy Families. But truly, we get referrals from physician offices. The hospital, we do screenings after moms have delivered to see if they would potentially meet our criteria, and then we offer our services at the hospital. We are a program that is open to any family. As I mentioned before, we try to focus on the first-time families, but we do bring in other families with other children as well. We have an assessment that we do with families that we go over 14 different domains, and then we score that assessment. And then based on that score, we can either offer a spot in our program, or if they don't meet a certain threshold, then we offer additional resources and other programs that they could reach out to. Our program is free. There is no charge for any of the services that we provide. We are grant funded with support from Valley Health as well, but there is no income guidelines for our program. So ultimately, we bring families in at 20 weeks prenatally up to 3 months. Other than that, you meet a certain score on our assessment, and that's all you need to be eligible. There's no income, there's no uninsured, insured, there's none of that kind of stuff. And it's completely free and confidential. We keep it very confidential because some of our families have a lot of issues that they're dealing with and don't want the whole world to know about those issues.
Tracy, Jody brings up a good point when she talks about being grant funded, because there are a lot of resources outside of necessarily writing a check for something that Valley Health can bring to the table by being the host of this agency.
Right. And really, for Valley Health to be connected with the program, it's really a privilege. Obviously, your listeners are learning about the fantastic work that Jody and her team are doing and the impact they're having. So naturally, we have a lot of experts around the system that Jody and her team can rely on. So we work very closely with grant writers and grant analysts. We have experts from Valley Health's marketing department. We work closely with Jenny Grooms's team from the Hospital Foundation. So we're able to tap into those resources and that expertise. It all comes as an in-kind give to the program and the families. But we really feel like as an organization, that's part of our responsibility to the community. And so it really is a privilege to offer that, I guess you would sort of say, kind of some operational support to the program.
Jody, your name is Healthy Families Northern Shenandoah Valley. You're based in Winchester, but you serve a much broader geography than that, right?
We do. Our site is one of 28 sites across the state of Virginia. And our site, Healthy Families Northern Shenandoah Valley, serves Winchester City, Frederick County, Warren County, and Clarke County. Obviously, Valley Health services more than just those areas in Virginia. There is another Healthy Families site that covers Shenandoah and Page, but it is a separate site from ours.
And when Tracy talks about all of just the foundational support and the operational support that Valley Health can provide, that doesn't mean that we as the general public can't help you as well. We could write a check, ideally those with a comma, because those are the favorite checks of nonprofits, but we can donate things. Can we volunteer? Do you have events sometimes that you need help with? What would you need from the community?
We do welcome donations for sure. And we can take monetary donations. We also can take donations of things that new infants might need or families might need in preparation for that new baby coming. Car seats, formula, pack and plays, those kind of things are always big needs. People think, oh my gosh, you don't have a car seat, but you've had 9 months to plan for a car seat. When there is a whole lot of other things going on in your life, the last thing that you're thinking about is a car seat until they tell you at the hospital, but you can't leave until you have a car seat. So yeah, sometimes for some of us, we just think it's automatic and you would automatically go get one. And for a lot of our families, that's just not the top of their priority. So those kind of things are always helpful.
And car seats are not the cheapest thing to
They are
buy
not.
these days.
No,
When my
they
kid,
are
who
not.
is in his 30s now, was little, they weren't cheap then, and they certainly have not gotten any
No.
less expensive.
That is very true. That is very true. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot of opportunity for volunteers. So, because it's a home visiting program, our family support specialists are doing the majority of their work in the home with the families. We do have quarterly events that are just for our families. We just had our spring event and the Easter Bunny came, and we have a small team of about 12 of us, and it's all kind of hands on deck for those events. And so we don't have a lot of opportunity for volunteers. If we did have volunteers, it would probably be to come and help clean out our closets because we collect things just like we do at our homes. And actually, the community leadership program, they actually just did come and volunteer sometime and cleaned out one of our closets for us. But on an individual basis, we don't have a lot of opportunity for volunteers.
When you talk about sometimes needing things, so I could, for example, go and buy formula at the grocery store and drop it off to you, diapers, baby blankets,
Yep.
things like that. I remember I met you for the first time back last September because part of what Healthy Families does in partnership with United Way for Day of Caring is you put together those new mom kits
Yes.
that have diapers and all of the things that I had totally forgotten some of those things that I needed when Josh was a baby. So having those on hand at any point during the year is really helpful for you.
It really is, because while we have right now we're serving 70 families, but we don't just serve those families. Someone may stop in and not be part of our program, but they were told that they might be able to get some diapers from us. And we certainly try to help out when we can for people who walk in and are in need of something. We certainly don't want anybody to go without. So while we are serving 70 families and the stuff that we get donations for, we try to use for our families, there are times when we work with the community and provide assistance for other community members as well.
And that's where a different kind of volunteer could step in to help. So someone listening today could get their church group together and say, hey, we want to do a diaper drive. We want to do a formula drive. We
Yes.
want to do these kinds of things. They may not physically be able to come to your office and help you with a specific task, but they can do those kinds of things. They can share things on social media. They can tell friends who are pregnant that this is a program that is available and out there for them. Sometimes you just have to think of a volunteer in a different kind of way.
Correct. Absolutely. And if they do have a group and they're looking for something that they want to do, give us a call, because our needs change over time depending on the families that we have in the program. So give us a call. We'd be more than happy to let you know what we could use at that point.
So for someone who's listening today and they had no idea that your program existed, how would they find you? How would they reach out to you to make that initial connection?
We have a Facebook page, and it's just Healthy Families NSV. And you can also find us through Valley Health. Look under all services, women and children or maternal fetal medicine, one of those two, and you can find a link to our site from there.
And I'll put that direct link in the show notes. So anyone who's listening today can go to the valleytodaypodcast.com and click right through to it. And Jody, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So outside of any other month of the year, this is really important for people to understand that you're there, the services that you provide, and how important it is for us to have healthy parents and healthy children.
Absolutely. And it's the month where all of the community agencies can come together and collaborate and focus on what services they can provide to help prevent child abuse. It brings national awareness to the issue. It doesn't go away. Unfortunately, it doesn't ever seem to go away. You see occasionally numbers drop, but it's still there. So there's still a lot of work to do, and we still need to bring national attention to child abuse and neglect and figure out ways that we can try to work with families to try to prevent this from happening.
Tracy, thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Jody, it was great to catch back up with you. The next time I'm downtown on the Our Health campus, I'm going to pop my head in your office.
Please do. And thank you so much, Janet.
I will be back tomorrow with a brand new episode of The Valley Today, just a few minutes after noon. So meet me here then.